Empieza. No hemos visto.
Mendaga?
Enggak lah, Cik.
Apa?
Kuacian aku.
I think we can now start. I think we've given enough time to your colleagues to join us. So first and foremost, I really want to thank God for this particular time and appreciate the fact that we have such a time like this and do our class. Okay, I guess you can all hear me.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Thank you very much. So this is a class of PALM 2205, that is project management. This unit is run by other various lecturers also. And our class will be this one for Saturday, 11 to 2 p.m. or every Saturday. In this group, I'm sure we have students from we have students from town campus, we have students from main campus, we have students from Western, we have students from Kitengela, we have students from all over. And we also have our DL students who might have joined us, because I'd asked them if it's possible, they can also join us. So before we start, I always like starting our classes with our word of prayer, because I think it is in respect to God that we are able to do everything. So allow me to open with a word of prayer before we continue. So let's pray. God, we thank you for this wonderful morning. We thank you for this is the day that you've made, that we may be glad and rejoice in it. Thank you, Lord, because these are the students, these are the people that you chose, that we interact with them at such a time like this. We glorify you and we adore you. As we start this class, God be with us, be our guidance. Guide us throughout the semester, oh God. And I pray for every student that you may give us good health, oh God, and that we may learn from one another for the glory and honor of your name. In Jesus' name I pray and believe.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah.
Amen.
Thank you. That will be somehow our routine on a daily basis, but I would also want to acknowledge that we have our brothers and sisters from maybe the Muslim community. We will also give them an opportunity probably to lead us in our prayer one of these particular days. So thank you. My name is Amy Rotich. I'm also a student like you. That is the one that usually excites me most, is that just knowing that I know what you feel as a student. So my area is project management. My undergraduate is in project management. My second degree is in project management. My third degree is also still in project management. That is the one I'm still pursuing at the moment. Okay, so I said I'll be taking you through this unit, PALM 2205. So maybe just with a small introduction about myself, I teach for KCA University on part-time basis. This is the unit that I teach all the time that I've been teaching for KCA. Okay, so thank you. I see someone's hand is up. We will set some rules and some regulations, but before we go on, I don't know, I want to give Anne an opportunity, and then I'll also give you an opportunity to say something, probably two from each gender, and then maybe just say something, your expectation, probably your name, where you work from. I know we all come from different places, but I'll be so glad to hear a voice or two, at least a voice or two, at least for us before we start. Okay, thank you very much. Let me give an opportunity to Anne, and then I'll come back to you and then give you time to say something before we start our class. Anne, please, you can unmute and say, ask what you wanted to ask. Anne Waweru, your hand is up. I don't know whether it is by mistake. Okay, she has lowered it down. Okay, so before, then again, when we join in, I realized that I had to admit you manually. So I requested one of you, Tony, to assist me in admitting you in. So for now, or for this particular lesson, we will have Tony as our class representative for now. So for today, if there is a need, probably we can have him be your class rep for the remaining part of the semester, depending on how maybe it's not, if it's not that busy. So thank you very much. So let me give you an opportunity, please, to say something. We prefer two gender, two ladies, two gentlemen, just to say something, probably your name, your expectation, what you expect from project management, how do you want us to do these things? And then now from there, we will agree on how best we can do. So before, as we are doing that also, I realized that some of you have only indicated the registration number. Yeah, it's very good, but I would want to request that you include your name also. And in most cases, I prefer that I have your name first before the registration, but I realize most of you have that. So I would, I believe you know how to do it. You simply go to click, you go to participants, you click on your name, and you should be able to rename. So please, let's do that. And I believe all of you are listening to me. If you've only given your name, please include your registration number. If you've given your registration number only on the attendance list, not on the chat. I actually don't need you and on the chat. This attendance really is okay. The participants list is enough for me. Thank you. I give an opportunity to at least 4 people to say something. Then we go on. Oh yeah, thank you, Mercy. Yes, go for it.
So good morning, everyone. My name is Mercy Okemo. I'm glad to be here in this class today. And my expectations for the project management unit is just to know how, I think my expectations have not really gone through the course outline yet, but I believe properly it will just be about the techniques of planning, organizing, and just being able to close projects successfully. So that is my expectations. And I also be expecting that maybe with Mwalimu, it will be a very, already you're sounding to be very approachable. So those are also my other expectations in terms of being able to relate with you very well, which I've already seen from the first conversation that you've had with us. So I also, Maureen, if you can mute, please, thank you. So, and also expecting in terms of coursework, if you can do a blend of both assignments and the, what are they called, the multiple choices questions. And yeah, just hoping for a fruitful semester with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mercy. Thank you so much. I appreciate such a very good talk. I believe we'll have a very fruitful lesson also too, and I really look forward to learning from you. This is actually a learning process. It makes me really like my students, because every time I have a session with my students, I always learn something from them. So please be ready to learn from one another, share your experience, share what you have. And that is the purposes of us having such a class, so that others would also benefit from your experience and whatever knowledge that you have. So Mercy, thank you so much. I also look forward to a great time together that we will learn from one another. Thank you very much. And let me move to Theopias. Theopias, please go for it.
Thank you, Madam. My name is Tobias Magero, and I come from western part of Kenya, but currently I work in the eastern part of Kenya, specifically Kitui. It's a great pleasure to be in this class. I'm one of the DL students. Sometimes the DL students, we go through a lot. Of course, we chose the DL because maybe some of the engagements, but I'm happy that you gave us an opportunity on our subgroup and invited us to join the class for those who have time. it's usually a rare opportunity, especially those of us who have gone through DL for the past semesters at KCA. Sometimes we are left on our own, but getting this opportunity from you, it's an indication of approachability to your end. We are glad. On your subgroup, when you are saying that we go through the virtual campus and join the link, and some of us have had issues with the virtual campus, so we can't log in. We logged in, some of us managed to enroll, and again, waking up early this morning, the LMS is not functioning, we can't log in. So we are insisting, please Mwalimu, send us a link on the WhatsApp chat. You complied, that indicates good things for us. For project management, my expectation, I've heard of project management, but I would want just to understand the cycle of the project management and what it entails. I remember in the group, someone was asking us, does it have a lot of mathematics again? You know, people fear mathematics. But of course, our expectation is just to understand the project management cycle, what it entails. And I'm hopeful that we will be able to manage well at the end of the semester. Thank you for your kindness, and thank you for giving us this opportunity, Mwalimu. Asante.
Thank you very much, Tobias. I appreciate that. Thank you, really. Thank you for your time. Thank you for what you've said. We appreciate, and we look forward for a great time together. Thank you, Tobias. Maybe also to enable me know how many of our students, I want to request my DL student to start with DL, so it's able to help me to know how many we have and how we'll go, how we'll move forward. Thank you. Tobias, thank you. You can put down your hand. And next person. Let's have 2 more at least. And also maybe what you actually want us to do. Someone has mentioned about the assignments, so we are still going to mention about that. And anything else, maybe a request that you want. At least the most important thing is we set the ground so that we really have a great time together, and each one of us should be able to benefit from this particular class. Thank you. Nancy, please go ahead.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nancy.
Thank you. For me, I can say the way we have started, we have started on a good note and tone, especially when we have included God in our process. It's a good starting point, and it's an indication that the process will be successful and will flow well. And like Mwalimu, you have said, we learn from each other, from you, from ourselves, from amongst ourselves. And also this unit, the project management, I'm sure it's going to assist us so well when we are winding up on this course and we are required to do a project. It will really assist us to make the work easy. I don't have much. Mine is to say that I've seen the unit start on a very good note. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Nancy. Thank you. God bless you so much. Last one. I said we have 2. We get 1 more person. That would be very nice. I would just at least be happy to hear your voices as well. 1 more. I realize that some of us are probably on the way, some people are probably driving, some people are just going to work, some people are maybe in the middle of something and in the office and maybe not able to say something, but I'm sure we have people who can actually say something. 1 more, please. Maybe let me request our class rep, my co-host, to say something. Tony?
Thank you very much. For me, I just want to just looking forward to interacting with the class, interacting with the teacher, and to learn something new. So thank you.
Thank you, Tony. And I want to also take this opportunity to appreciate you for actually accepting to assist me admit your colleagues. So I guess you will be serving 2 masters. You'll be trying to admit your colleagues at the same time you want to give attention to the class. So thank you, class. So first, let's look at some rules on how best we will be able to work together nicely to achieve our objectives. Okay, 1. The course outline is already on Moodle. And the notes for lesson 1 for today is already on Moodle. The rest of the notes are there. However, I've just hidden it from you. So it will be okay. So, okay. So first rule also, when you log in, always remember to mute. Always remember to mute. That will be very nice of you. If the first thing, as soon as you log in, just check whether you are muted or you are unmuted. Because you may also tell us, we may get to hear what you are discussing and maybe also get to interrupt our class. And at the same time, maybe whatever you are discussing is some secret part of you. So the best thing to do always in Zoom, as soon as you join, ensure that you are muted. If you have a challenge on where to mute, I believe we can always help each other. Okay, so first thing, so we have the course outline. We are going to run through the course outline today. And so that I think the best thing to do is now we look at the course outline of what we will be expected to do in our course. So allow me to go to the course outline. Though it is on your net on Moodle, but it's fine. It's still good for us to go through it. Allow me to just pick it where it is. Okay, 2205. Okay, I found it, the course outline. So allow me to share my screen. So I believe you can see my screen. I don't know what is on the chat. Maybe I'll look at it as we have a look at it. So this unit is PAM 2205, project management. I always encourage my students to please mute. Tony, you also have the rights to mute for me. If you find someone who is on, you can always mute them. You have those rights to do that. Okay, I always encourage my students to actually get used to the unit code. The unit codes are equally very important for you. So you may just remember, yes, I'm doing project management, but so if you are able to remember also the codes, well and good. And you'll find most of them probably is maybe PAM 2205, PAM 2102, they just follow each other. So if you're able to remember the code, well and good. Okay, so we will be doing the class every Saturday for 3 hours. For our DL students, like I told them earlier, they are free to join this class if they have time. We will still set on time with them so that we meet separately from 5:30 to around 8, or even for 1 hour or 2 hours. Maybe I'll handle your case differently, just in case we have people who will not be able to maybe join this particular class. But however, we'll only do it 4 times in a semester. So we'll set a time, I'll communicate through WhatsApp, and we agree on the best day, we can act on the best date, we can always link up together. Okay, so you have my contact there, you have my email address there. Maybe we can look at the purpose of this course. The purpose of this course is to introduce the concept of project management, the concept of project support, the project of leadership, the project of monitoring and control and risk identification, and many, many more. Okay. So what are the expected learning outcomes? So at the end of this course, you, the student, should be able to prepare a detailed plan of scheduling, execution, monitoring, risk identification, and control. You should be able also to actually draw a work breakdown structure. You should be able also to draw a network diagram. You should be also able to actually calculate the time of the project, the schedule, etc. of a project. You should be also able to identify and explain some project success factors. You should be able also to provide sound advice on project management. So the course outline, today we look at one topic, we look at introduction to project management or look at overview of project management. We will be able also to look at project management as a discipline. So today we will look at two things. So the brief history of project management, I always give you as a chart so that you go to the manual. We have a project management manual book, which I've actually shared on Moodle. So you'll be able to access that manual. You will be able to read about the history of project management and start doing a chat with your colleague, which I'm just going to enable as soon as we finish the class. So we will also look at the project life cycle. We look at also, when we look at the project life cycle, we'll be able to look at initiations of project, we look at the planning, we look at implementation, we look at the closure of the project. Our key topic here, we'll also look at what we call project design and planning. We look at project design and planning. Topic 5 is, it's usually a long topic. It will do continuation of project design and planning. In this, you should be able to understand the critical path. You should be able to draw the network diagrams. And we look at tools that are used for planning and design in project management. Some of these tools also include like the Gantt chart, the network diagram, and many others, the milestone charts, etc. etc. We could look at that most probably in our second or third lesson. Okay, we will do, let me leave this part of the cards because I want to handle that differently so that we know which assignments, which cards we are going to do throughout the semester. Okay, we look at project organization. We look at project implementation and control. We will look at investigation of variance. For your information, when there's a unit, I think there's a topic that we skip somewhere here, which is very important for us. Okay, this one, I don't know how I skip it because I remember there's something that we missed. Project feasibility study. When we look at project feasibility study, we will look at the financial appraisals of a project, which has some few mathematics. It just occurred to me because somebody mentioned whether this unit has a bit of mathematics. It has some very few of them, which we can actually handle. Nothing complicated. It's just something that we can handle. So please don't fear that it has some calculations, but just very few calculations because we need to calculate to actually ascertain which project is viable. Okay. So the investigation variance is also a bit of just few calculations, just some minus and additions, just a little bit of it. Okay. We will look at risk management. This topic came before. Should we look at risk management? We look at project success criteria and success factors. And then our last topic will be project closure phase of a project. So that will bring us to the end of our topics that we are going to cover this semester. How are we going to approach this? Of course, we will do lecture, online lecture. When you see me keeping word sometime, I may have to admit your colleagues. I hope next time I'll have sorted out this so I don't have to be admitting anyone. Okay, so we will have to do assignments. Let me move to this evaluation part of it, of this particular course. So our assignment will not be 10%. Our assignment will be 50 and final exam will be 50. So it's not 30 and 70 like in the way we do physical classes. This one will have 50. So please take note of that. I'll also correct this myself and then I'll repost it again. So how will we get the first 50 for CAT? Take note. In this weekend, This week is the week of 17. So next week will be 24th. So we will meet next week. On the following week, you will do a cut. So I'll just leave it open for the entire week. You can attempt it anytime you are free. This will be out of 5. So quiz 1 will be out of 5. We will do quiz 2, which is also out of 5. I will give you a take-home assignment. So assignment 1 will be out of 10. You will also do what we call cut 1, which is out of 15. And we do cut 2, which is out of 15. Can somebody give me the total for that?
50%.
Thank you. 50%. So we've said what? I will also document everything for purposes of easy understanding. So remember, we will do, and our first quiz will be on from 25th. I will leave it open to be multiple choices, covering just what we've covered, which the lessons that we are going to cover today and what we are going to cover next week. So it will be open for like 5 days, I think will be enough. We'll always agree, all of us, so that we can do it in 7 days, for especially for our DL students, so that we give them enough time to probably get to revise and actually attempt this quiz 1. So we'll do quiz 1, which is out of 5. We will do a class again after a week. Again, we do another quiz 2, which is out of 5. And then I give you an assignment. The assignment I can actually give you for a month or so. You start working on it slowly. Assignment, you submit the assignment online. I will mark it as soon as you, when you submit it, that will be out of 10. The cut 1 and the cut 2 will do it probably towards the end of November and to maybe the beginning of November and end of November. So that will make 50. So your exams will be out of 50. You're usually required to answer 1 compulsory question. You're usually required to answer 1 compulsory question. So which is usually out of, I think, 20. And then the rest is, I think, 15. So it makes 30. Okay, so I don't know whether we have a question there. Do we need any clarification? And please feel free to clarify anything, to ask anything. This is a class that we are learning from one another. Please don't fear anything. We are here to learn. That is the most important thing here. Any question, any query, anything you don't understand?
It's clear, Mwalimu.
Thank you very much. Okay, so our exams is out of 50. Okay, so let me see. So for assignments, I'll also give you the deadline for submitting the assignment. The cuts will be open for a particular period of time, which I will communicate to you also on WhatsApp, will be our key communication platform also, and also on Moodle. Thank you. So everything we'll do it online because this is an online class and everything will be done online. Okay, so we have some reference books. We have this book by Cardina P, Project Management. They have very many books in project management. Sometimes if you get, I don't know whether we have virtual library, even if we don't have, but even if we don't have anyway, there are books that you can actually download online. It could also be nice to own 1 or 2 of these books. So we have also this one by Meredith. It's a very good book, Meredith and Mantell, Project Management and Managerial Approach. We have this one, Project Management by Nakarajan. It was published in 2001. We also have one for Yeats and Candles. It's an old book, Project Management for Information System. In Project Management, we also have our, I can say we have our Bible. So we have a book by Prasanna Chandra. The latest edition is 2017. The book is on projects, planning, analysis, selection, implementation, and review. When we do that project selection criteria, this book will be very good for you if you are able to access it. If you manage to go to the library, it's good to check this book. If you are able also to own it, why not? It can also be nice. So we have 2 books, which we actually call them our Bible in project management, or the books that we use so much. Is one of this one is Prasanna Chandra. We also have a book by Project Management Institute, which is called the PM book. That is Project Management Book of Knowledge. You can download for free online the 4th edition. You're free to do it. You can just just download free PDF of PM book. That is B for project management, M for B for project, M for management. M, that is what did I say? Hold on 1 minute. PM book. Okay, this B for project management, M for B for project, M for management, B for book, and O for, of course, book, and K for knowledge. So PM book. I'm sure we'll come across it because we'll discuss it today. So you'll be able to actually download that book. You are free to download the book. You can have the book. It's also our Bible. So it will be very nice for you to have it. Probably you can go to an interview and they ask you in your certificate, I can see you did a unit in project management. Do you understand what is PM book? And you can be asked some of these questions. So that is what we intend to cover in this particular period of time. And I believe we'll be able to finish it in good time before we start the examination. Okay, that will mark the end of our course outline. I don't know whether anyone has any topic. Probably you might have heard of a topic somewhere. And probably you think, hey, Mwalimu, I thought we were going to learn this and this. Anything? I'm waiting to hear from you. You know, it also gives me a confidence that we are together. So I always want to bring back the question to you so that I'm sure that sisi tuko pamoja.
Pamoja mwalimu.
Okay.
We are together, madam.
Thank you, Pauline. Thank you very much for that. Asante, asante. Okay, I would also want to remind Tony. Tony, you'd also do me a screenshot of the attendance so that probably you can do it when we are all now, and then you do it again when you are almost finishing, and then you will share it with me on WhatsApp. Okay, so that I can have the attendance for today. But going forward, we will have a link that will guide us on how to log in and mark our attendance. Sawa, thank you very much. Sawa. So if we don't have any question, I think it's just good we start our lesson. I think there's nothing much that I need to clarify.
Mwalimu.
Yes, please, Pauline.
Okay, you can repeat the initials of that book again.
Okay, let me type it here on the chat, isn't it? We're actually going to look at it, in fact, even now.
Okay.
We are actually going to look at it before the end of the lesson because we are going to do introduction, and then I would want to look at project management as a discipline, those 2 topics, if we are able to finish. I will also, but I've decided to do it in the chat so you can download. So it's free. The 4th edition is free online. So you simply go to Google and ask for 4th edition. It's free. You can have the book. It's very nice. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we can go to our first lesson. Let me look at where it is.
Mwalimu.
Yes,
Excuse
please.
me.
Yes, Daniel?
Daniel.
Yes, I didn't get it clear when it comes to attendance. So should we register on the chat or while logging in
Okay.
Zoom?
Okay. Actually, I think it's me who didn't manage to do the login when you join Zoom. I'll do that for next time. But for today, just ensure that you have your name and your registration number on your participant list. Just where you see list of participants, your name should also, it should be your name and your registration number. So like now, Charles Owoko, please include your registration number. Rotich, please include your registration number. Susan, etc. Just like the rest, I've included, just include the registration number and your name, both of them for now. So going forward, we have an attendance list, which I need to create, and then you should be able to log in.
Thank you.
Most welcome. So let's start looking at the overview of project management, which is our lesson for today. And then I also want us to look at project management as a discipline. Okay, I believe you have my screen now. We'll introduce you to project management. So maybe first things first. Project management seems to be a new discipline, but per se, it is not a new discipline. Project management came in from the 1940s. However, over time, it has been embraced and it's being adapted all over in all the institutions. Project management is a discipline that needs to be embraced by every organization, that needs to be embraced by any discipline, because it actually supports the functions of achieving the goals and the objectives that are set in these particular organizations and institutions. So this lesson, which is an overview of project management or introduction to project management, introduces you, the learner, to the concepts of project planning and management. We look at definitions of some terms. We would want to understand project constraints. We want to understand the sources of projects. We want to look at the nature of projects that exist, characteristics of a project, the reasons why projects succeed and why projects doesn't succeed, etc., etc. So by end of our lesson today, we should be able to understand what a project is and probably have various examples of projects which actually we've undertaken in many places. Okay, so first thing, maybe I would want to ask, what is a project? According to you, what is a project? What do you think a project is? So let's participate. Let's let's participate. Let's say something together so that maybe the class can be interesting. What do you think a project is in your own thinking, in your own?
In my own thinking, I think a project is it is just an estimate. It is like a forecast on the basis of you present trends or data, predict just beyond something. It's like you want to find more about something on the basis of maybe initially what you're having.
Okay, so what Mercy is trying to say is that, like, you are coming from the unknown to the known, I think.
Yeah. You either plan to achieve a particular aim.
Okay.
But it is from
there's
known
planning,
to
there's a purpose or aim. Good attempt. Good one. Okay, next.
I think.
Yes, I can see who is that.
This is Pauline.
Yes, Pauline, thank you.
Okay, I think it's a task that has to be completed or attained.
Okay.
Maybe a task that has to be completed. to attain a certain outcome.
Okay. So what Pauline is trying to tell us is that there's some task that takes place. There are some activities that takes place, isn't it? And it looks like it has a start and she didn't finish to say the end. So because anything that has a start, say last time we tune at the end. Isn't it? Everything with a start there is an end. So we started politics and it ended.
Yeah, that's why I said outcome.
Yes,
To attain an
outcome.
outcome.
Yes, there's also an outcome. Okay, thank you. Good one. Good attempt. Good attempt. Aha. Any other opinion? Probably we can hear it's just one more, and then now we just
Let
one.
me also attend.
Yes, welcome. Thank you.
My name is Rono.
Oh, yes. Rono. Yes, Rono. Yes, Rono.
In my opinion, I think it is traditional undertaking.
It is? Rono, we lost you. Rono, we lost you. We lost Rono, I think, unless I'm the only person who is not listening to, who cannot hear him. Okay, any other attempt? I think you were saying something which sounds interesting also. If you don't put up your hand, I'll just call someone.
Mwalimu, I think it's like
Yes.
an idea you can come up with.
Yes.
Maybe, for example, maybe you see the street children and then you want to help them. So it is an idea you come up with a plan, with a budget of what you want to do, and then you start the process. Yeah, but the process also has to, yeah, the process has, I think it has many things, financial. Yes.
Thank you. Well said, Anne. Well said. Thank you. So let's move on straight away and look at it. When we talk of a project, I only have one definition that I like most about what a project is. And a project is like moving from a problem to a solution via a series of planned activities. And that is what this, everyone who has explained has touched something on this. So my favorite definition of a project is a problem awaiting solution. The last person who talked just talked about looking at the streets children. You are looking at a problem, and now you start the process of seeking for a solution, and that is what we call a project. And towards seeking the solution of this particular problem, you have a number of activities that you have to do, which a number of us has mentioned about it. These activities cannot just happen like that. You need to plan them. You require some budget. You require resources in this particular planning of yours to achieve this objective. So you have an objective at hand. You have a schedule. You have a timing. So you gonna sort out this issue. You've seen there's a problem, and you actually want to find a solution to this particular problem. And that is what we call a project. So it is a means of moving from a problem to a solution. There are many problems, there are many challenges that affect us in our society today. We just ended a project the other day, the elections. That was a huge project, okay? You could also have had anything looking for, the projects are with us. They are in every institution. I know this class will not be able to know where each one of us is working or where each of us is interacting, but wherever you are, as we speak, try to look at your scenario, try to look at where you are and do what? And actually relate to what we are discussing. So there are many definitions of a project. We've talked about what is moving from a problem to a solution and via a series of planned activities. Some definitions also say it is a unique venture with a specified start and end. We say it is unique because it is one-time venture. So if you're going to look at, to sort out the issue of street children, you'll have it as a one-time venture. Once you finish this solution, because you have an objective to achieve. So other definitions, as we can see in the screen, is also, as you can say, a project is an interrelated set of activities that has definite start and ending point and results in the accomplishment of a unique, often outcome. Okay, so it has interrelated activities. Please remember to mute. It interrupts when you join the class and you've not muted. So thank you for that. So it is also said that a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or results. Other definitions is a sequence of activities that has a definite start and finish, an identifiable goal, and an integrated system of complex but interdependent relationship. What I want to bring to your attention this particular morning is that we have a difference between, it's already an afternoon, but there's a difference between the project that you are going to handle and the project, that is the meaning of project management, or the meaning of a project that you are going to handle. If it is maybe building project, construction project, there is agricultural projects, there are maybe things to do with health projects, there's projects to do with ICT, there are projects to do with education, there are projects everywhere we talk about projects. So what I'm trying to bring the difference here is, one, when we talk about a project that you are going to do it in the next, probably in the next semester, I don't know which time you're supposed to write your project. This is a different thing that we are talking altogether. The project that you are going to actually administer follows a different sequence. It is a project in itself because it has a start and it has an ending. But the procedure of writing that project is equally different in a way. The requirements, that is what we call research methods project. So it's different from the project management that we are discussing. Here we are looking at, we are looking at a project, we are looking at a particular project that you are trying to actually accomplish. So that is about a project, unless someone has a different opinion and someone feels that there's something that we left out, you are free to raise your hand and actually voice and add your voice to this. Okay, so we go on. So let's look at other definitions of the terms that we are going to do. So what is project management? In itself, probably I'll ask you, what is management? What do you understand? What are the functions of management? Yes, say something. Rashid?
Madam, how are you?
I'm
you in a position to enlarge I can't see.
A minute, Rashid. Let me see, someone is talking. Let me mute Maureen. Okay, Rashid, yes, you're asking something?
Yes. Are you in a position to enlarge the screen?
Maureen
Can't see, brother.
Ah, you're not able to see. You want me to do what with the screen?
To enlarge at least so that we can see properly.
Okay, sorry. I was trying to enlarge and it's not even becoming smaller. Hold on. Technology in itself. I don't know. I'm trying to add. Oh, okay. Can you see now?
Yes.
Okay. More, it moves to the next page. That's better now. Rashid, please.
Yes, it's okay. It's okay.
It's better
Thank
now.
you.
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. That's a good one. I think someone's hand was up, please.
It was Maureen.
Yes, Maureen. Did you want to say something?
You had told that you were asking about the work of management.
Functions of management.
And I wanted, yeah, I wanted to try something. I just wanted to maybe say like, I think management would help in ensuring that resources that need to be allocated for the project to be successful are there.
Okay. So what we are trying to say is that maybe you need to plan to do planning, isn't it? Okay. Another function?
Controlling.
Controlling, yes. Another function of project management, actually for management.
Organizing.
Yes.
Directing.
Thank you very much. So when we talk about a project, now we know. Only mute for me, this Charles Oko. Charles or Oko?
I'm muted.
Please try when you are on, is to always mute. Thank you. Okay. So what you are trying to say? So I was saying now we know the definition of a project. We said a project is a problem awaiting solution. It's a unique endeavor. So when we talk about project management, we are now saying that this unique endeavor, it has interrelated activities. You need to plan it. You need to coordinate it. You need to organize it. You need to schedule it. You need to lead it, etc., etc. Just the functions of project management. You need to communicate. So it is usually a process. So when we talk about project management, we are saying it is a process or the application of knowledge, skills, tools, techniques, people, and systems focused on meeting or exceeding stakeholders' needs. So it is usually the process of planning, scheduling, and controlling of project activities to meet the project objectives. So we've talked about a problem. What is a problem? It's a gap. It's a gap. It's achieving your objective between where you are and where you want to be with an obstacle that prevents easy movement to close the gap. So when you have a problem, there are so many problems that we have in our society. We have many challenges in our society. We have ranging from poverty, flood, diseases, etc., food shortages, security, all of them. So we can look at what is a program. A program is usually a long-term project. It's usually it's usually huger than the project. So we have many projects in the program. So for example, we have school feeding program, isn't it? So you realize that there are so many projects in between. We also have this election, we can call it a program because there were many projects in it. Okay, probably. Maybe we can also discuss, like in KCA, we have programs. So these programs have projects in it. There are many projects that are run in that particular program. So it's usually a long term that will respond and serve social issues, basically the root causes. This involves series of objects. This involves series of projects to be implemented until the problem is resolved. It's a group of related projects managed in a coordinated way to obtain benefits and controls not available for managing individuals. So what is a project plan? It's a formal approval document used to guide both the project implementation and project control. So what is project control? It's the process of comparing the actual performance with the planned performance. So when you are controlling a project, you are looking at what you are planned, you look at what you perform as you compare it with what is yet to be achieved. What is an activity? We talked about an activity or a task is the smallest unit of work effort within the project and consumes both time and resources. We look at it more as we move on. So we say that a project has activities. Okay, if we were give an example again, what Anne gave us about this, the street children, you will have a number of activities. Probably one of the activities is to get resources. Another activity could be maybe to get where to, solutions to actually where to assist these street children. Maybe you want to give them food, a number of activities, many of them. Eh? So, who is a project manager? Who is a project manager? Is that individual who has the overall responsibility of managing the project and guiding the project team towards the achievement of the desired objective. A project manager is a very important person. It has to have various skills in order to run the project. A project manager is someone who should have technical skills, should be able to have negotiation skills, should have good communication skills, good technical skills, and even be able to maybe also get the resources that are required. So a project manager in a project is a very important person. It's like the overall person. So project teams are project human resource who have interdependent collections of roles and responsibilities geared towards a common goal. So if you are having a project, let's say you are constructing, and let's say just a simple classroom. So you'll have a project teams, you'll have people who will do the, maybe you have people who do the plastering, you have people who will do the roofing, the carpentry, you have people who will do the plaster, you'll have a whole team. Maybe you have people who will just be maybe bringing you water, you'll have people who will have your suppliers, you have a team. So project team is very key in project management. In fact, when you look at the reasons why projects fail or even why projects succeed is when you involve your project team and when you have a strong, a very cohesive project team. So in project management, we also have terms like risk. All projects have some degree of uncertainties, some sign of a risk. So risk is an uncertain event which may occur in the future, and it may prevent or delay the achievement of a project organization or objectives or goals of an organization. And then what is risk management? Is the process to identify all relevant risks. You rank those risks and you address the risk in order to give priority. You monitor and report their management. We also look at what is monitoring. It's a systematic collection on analysis of information as the project progresses, which aim at improving efficient and effectiveness of the project. So projects, we can monitor project. You collect data and look at how far the project is going. Is it going to achieve its goals? Are you going to achieve the objective? Are you going to finish this project on time? Evaluation is a comparison of the actual project impact against the agreed strategic plan. It looks at what's set to do and what has been accomplished. A stakeholder is an individual. It can be a group, or an organization. It can be a community. Anyone who has vested interest in your project is called a stakeholder. Last one is to look at the scope. What is the scope? It is the magnitude of the work to be performed. Every project has a scope. Every project has a scope. You must have a scope of your, that you need to meet. You must have the boundary on what you are going to do. So all the projects, so what we've discussed here is also more of the characteristics of our project. So these are the terms that we have discussed. And maybe I just want to come back and ask, can we consider your course as a project? Or even now, even the fact that we are doing this unit, can we consider it as a project?
Perfectly.
Why do you say so? Why do you say so?
Yes.
Yes. Why do we say yes? Can we support
Because
our
it is a task that we have to accomplish.
Good. It has a beginning and it has an end.
Yeah.
Another one?
It has a series of activities.
It consumes both time and resources.
It
Time
consumes
for
time
reading
and resources. It has activities that needs to be done. It has a beginning and it has an end. I love that. It is
planned.
It is planned. It has various activities. Okay. We also have a way.
Assignment.
Yeah. Say again, Tobias.
It has a planned activities like cards and assignments.
Definitely. We have our monitoring and evaluation tools. By doing these quizzes, this will be our monitoring and evaluation tools that I use for this particular unit. You do the quizzes, the tasks, the assignments, the exams, and we'll end the project. So thank you very much.
Shareholders, because we are participating in the unit.
Thank you. I actually, in fact, want us to move to do things that we've mentioned so that we finish it here in case we don't come across it anywhere. We've talked about resources. When we talk about a project having resources, what do we mean? What are these resources? We usually have the 4 M's of resources. What are these 4 M's of resources?
Manpower.
Manpower.
Money.
Money. Manpower, money. 2 more. Thank you, good students. 2 more. I'm waiting for 2 more.
Materials.
Materials. Thank you. And I always tell my students, it is good to refer. A university student is allowed to refer during the coursework, not during exams. Machinery. Thank you. So you should always be having a pen. By the way, when we are doing this class, as much as it's virtual, please, you should always have a pen and a paper and take note of some of these things. Some of the things that I'll mention, you may not be able actually to come across them in the notes, but we have to mention them. So, okay, thank you. So we've talked about the 4 M's of resources. We have manpower, we have money, we have materials, and we have machinery. So if you look at your course, it's actually involve all the resources. You need school fees to pay, you need manpower, we have materials that you use, and we have machinery also to help you run this. And our serious machineries could be things like computers, virtual, the way we are doing virtual classes. There's also something that I want us to mention is we've talked about the stakeholders. We say there are people who have vested interest. Since we've said that this unit or this course of yours is also a project, who are some of the stakeholders in this particular project?
Me.
Beautiful. You yourself, project manager. I like that.
And you?
The university.
The university.
And the university.
Thank you. Beautiful.
The government.
The government, well done. Beautiful.
The environment that I interact with.
The environment, like for example, let's talk with like which environment?
My workplace.
Your workplace, your employer is also have interest, is also a stakeholder in your project. Your family.
Your sponsor or family. So you just mentioned family.
Your family, oh, thank you. Yeah, your family.
The people who sponsor you, that is what I want to say.
The people who sponsor you. ATC, ETC, isn't it? Thank you. That's good. You're really making me excited about this particular case. So thank you. So now we've defined some few terms. Among this definition, I'm sure we'll find characteristics of a project. We'll have mentioned some of these, but the fact that we actually get the base and we are able to establish this particular base and we understand what is a project and what are these projects. We'll be using relevant examples that we actually been experiences and what we do every day and realize that, oh, this is a project. Actually, you may not have known that it's a project, but it's a project that you've been doing. Okay, so thank you. Let's move because time, unless you have a question. So we move to characteristics of a project. We've talked about a number of things. But let's go one by one. A project has an objective. Any project, your project, you have an objective. You'd want to earn that degree because you want to get a promotion. You want to earn that degree because you want to get a job. You want to earn that degree so that you move to another level. You even want to improve your status. You have an objective, and your objective is to get that degree certificate with you. You know, you're looking forward for that time that you will graduate and have your certificate with you. A project has a life cycle. We are going to look at the next topic will be project management as discipline. Next week, we look at the project life cycle. Any project is characterized by a life cycle. It has an initiation phase, which we call the conception phase also. There is the planning stage. There is the implementation phase. There is the closing phase or commissioning stage, whichever, whatever they want. I will use the word stage and phase interchangeably. So don't really get worried that probably it means two different things. It's just one and the same thing. So a project has a life cycle. When we look at that, we will still try to compare now how when your project was at conception stage, when your project was at planning stage. We look at when the project was at the implementation stage, which we are now, and we look at the closing stage of your project. So it also, we said it has a definite time limit, isn't it? For you, when are you graduate? I don't know whether we are in the same, the only challenge with this class is I don't know whether we are all at the same year of study. But maybe I'll use an example of, allow me to use Mercy. Mercy, when are you graduating? Which year are you? Is she still in class? Can I use someone here in class, please?
3.1.
Who is that? Giles.
Leonard Joshua.
Joshua. Leonard Joshua. Joshua, you are in 3.1, isn't it? So, when did you start, Joshua? Which year?
Okay, I have exemptions. I've done CPA.
No problem. Just give me when you started.
With exemptions. Jan this year.
Oh, January this year. So, okay, so with January 2022, and now you will be graduating December 2023. Isn't it?
Yes.
So you have a time limit. So that is why it gives us a good reason to know that whatever you are running is a project, isn't it? It has a time limit. Even this course, we are now starting this unit on 17, and we'll finish it by somewhere end of August. So it has a time limit. It has a beginning and an end. Okay. We also have a characteristic. We say a project is unique. So you will not come back and do PALM 2205 unless you don't pass the exams. But anyway, I've never found students who never pass the exams unless they really don't want to. When you don't want, sometimes some people really don't want to pass. Charles, hataki kupita wanafanyanga nini kwa mtihani? That student who doesn't really want to move on to the, to finish that, who actually plans to fail the project.
They differ.
That is one. Another one?
Incomplete coursework.
Assignment.
Beautiful. That's what, yes, that's what I was looking at. Those people who doesn't want to do the assignment, now I'll give you a quiz. Somebody else will just maybe ignore it, forget about it, don't want to do it. Of course, there are those people probably for one or two reasons, maybe you've not paid school fees, that's really understandable, but it is my prayer that God will give you resources to actually do your things and accomplish your project on time. So others don't want to finish, they don't want to do the assignments, they don't want to do the cards, they just leave it blank like that, and really, that's our way of not wanting to finish your project. Even during exams, there's those students who just write the question and just give it back to you like that. But I know that those students are not in this particular class. I know we don't have them here, I'm sure.
Yes.
For true, isn't it? I know it cannot be my project management class, especially those who are here now. So those who will leave blank pages are those who are not here now. So you go to an exam, you've read, you've been in class, we've given you the notes, please write something. Chikakamwe, you know, even if these things are hard, maybe sometimes, you know, people also go through many other different things. You know, there are many factors that affect our success in projects. And, but you see, Lasima, you must work hard. Anyway, we're talking about, it has time limit, the beginning and the end, the uniqueness. Every project is unique because we said it's a one-time thing. So I said, you are not going to go back and do BAM 2205 unless you really want to do it on your own. It involves teamwork. You'll do group work together. We study together. You have a team that you work with. There are quite a number of activities that you do at a team, your colleagues, etc. Another characteristic is its complexity. A project is a complex set of many components. The varieties are in terms of technology, equipments, and materials, machinery, and people, work culture. Don't you think our just ended election was really an example of a complex set of many components and activities? Don't you think so? That was one of them. We have many projects. We see is it called JKIA Express, JKIA James Gishuru Express Way? It included a number of complex projects. We have our SGR. It completes a set of, it's usually a project really has complex activities. Even for you also, there are many activities that affect you to actually perform or ensure that your project, some people have bosses who really will give you a problem even to come to a class or to attend class. The moment they know that you are doing a degree course, and they know that now your time for class is 11 to 3 p.m. You know, we go there getting excited. You know what, my boss have started my degree course. You get very excited. Only little did you know that now when it comes to that time, you'll be asked, please, you'll be on duty, or they make sure that they give you a trip to go so that you don't attend. Anyway, it consists of complex. Subcontracting is also some of the activities, maybe attracted to subcontractors to reduce the complexity of the project. Risk and uncertainty, we had just mentioned in our definition, every project has risk and uncertainties that are associated with it. I like using your example. What are some of the risks in your project? The one that now that we've talked about now, for example, your course, the one you are doing, or even in this unit. Let's talk about your course. What are some of the risks?
Yes, Mwalimu.
Yeah, thank you. What are some of the risks? Is it Francis?
Yes, it is. Crashing. My job crashing with the classes.
Yes, maybe classes crashing that's a risk, yeah? That is a risk, Francis.
Another one.
Yes.
Lack of school fee.
Yeah, good. Lack of school fees is a risk. Robert, Robert.
Yes, there is also a risk of failing an exam.
Exam failure. Other risk. There are many risks. Yes, failing exam is another risk.
Getting sick and you can't attend the classes, or maybe you can't do exams.
Sickness is also a risk.
Unplanned risk.
Yes, and like those.
For example, me, I joined KCA in 2019 January, but now Corona came.
Yes.
Okay, some things happened, so I was not able to complete my course as I had planned.
Yes.
Because of the resources. So I am completing my degree I'm completing my coursework and I'm finalizing now.
Thank you.
So that was a risk that I had not planned for,
yes.
But I never gave up.
Yes, thank you. The good thing is not to give up, but there are so many risks, by the way. Even you can lose your sponsor. And now you don't have anyone to pay for you. Things like pandemics, like the corona. In fact, even especially when you are doing your PhD, by the way, that is the one that is even more serious. It actually affected many, because you see at PhD level, it's like everything depends on your effort. You are working on your own as an individual. However, Many people actually stop. You know, when Corona came, people really lost touch with their documents, lost touch with whatever you're doing. But the best thing is not to give up, but to go on. After risk even involve also maybe if you leave this world or dead, such like things. That's sorry, but we pray that God forbid. So there are many risks. Thank you, because we can identify and know that there is, Robert, your hand is still up, but I think you had said something. Thank you. So we have other characteristics. I don't want to discuss about this customer change. There are also changes. We say that project is a problem awaiting solution. You cannot get a solution without any change, isn't it? It has to change. Even you will change. Definitely, I can promise you for free that when you join to do your degree program, you will not go back the same. You will have learned a lot. I also believe that by God's grace, that before you finish this unit, you will have learned a number of things. I also believe by God's grace, that even before we end the class today, you will have learned something. So there's always a change that takes place in a project. Like if we talk about our JKIA Express road, now life has changed, isn't it? Those people who went through that road up, but for those who are in Nairobi, even those who are in up country, you can also visit and then try to drive through that road. Here the feeling is very different. The feeling is really very different. So there are some changes that takes place. So changes occur throughout the lifespan of a project as a natural outcome of many environmental factors. Thank you. Let's look at characteristics. Any question on characteristics of a project? The other characteristics of a project, we didn't talk about the schedule, we didn't talk about the time, we didn't talk about the budget. There are quite a number of them. I can't mention all of them, but we'll be mentioning as we go. You'll just realize, okay, if you come across something like that somewhere in future, you can always mention it. Allow me to admit some of your colleagues here. I'm seeing here. Thank you. Okay, so let's look at characteristics of a good project manager. An effective project manager will require the following skills and abilities: planning and organizational skills, personnel management skills, good communication skills, ability to solve problems, somebody who should be energetic, the person should be very ambitious, the person should be ability to take suggestions, should have knowledge of project management. It should be somebody who can manage time. Time management is very key in project management. Why? Because this project has a beginning and an end. Okay, ability to handle project management software tools, tolerance of different opinions, because now you are dealing with a team. You have to know how to build a very strong and cohesive team. You should have knowledge of technology. Technology should be able to resolve conflict and should have that capacity. So there are quite a number of characteristics, so you can take note of that. The role of a project manager is to deliver the project on time. Not only on time, but within the budget and to the specification. So we also have the issue of quality. So the role of a project manager is to recruit the best, because you want a team who can work with you. Another role of a project is to motivate and lead the team, because you have a team that works with you. You need to be one cracking the whip so that everyone knows what is to be done and when. You should also be able to manage finances. We say there's a budget that is involved in any project. So you must be able to see that the budget that you have should be able to accomplish the project, not only complete the project, but with quality as it is required. A project manager should also control the changes that comes up. In project management, we have what we call the scope creep. This scope creep, it's a very common thing, and if not taken well care of, you will realize that the project will not be completed successfully. So if it's not well taken care of, the project will not be complete. What is scope creep? Scope creep is the changes that occur as you go on with the project. Scope creep, always. If we look at the, if I may just come back to you, what was the initial objective or what was the initial plan for the SGR? For those who know, what was the initial plan? It was supposed to go up to where?
I think to Kisumu.
Naivasha, then Kisumu.
Ilifika wapi?
Naivasha.
So some changes came up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2. Even that I will be using, I love that road. At least it helps me remember our former president. The JKIA, James Gishuru, Super Highway, Express Road. There were also some changes that took place. Initially, that road did not have to have any outlet or inlet, isn't it? Initially, that was the initial plan. It was not, it was actually, that's why it was called expressway. You are not supposed to branch anywhere. It was only meant for people who, vehicles or people who would go straight away to, all the way to James Gishuru and not, but now what happens? We have some inlets and outlets along the way. Those are changes. That's what we call the scope creep. A very good example is, let's say we have a gentleman here who is planning to build a house. You've just maybe finished school and you want to build a house. So you just realize that me as an individual, 1 bedroom or even a single room is enough for you because you are alone, isn't it? So as you start your project or as you continue with your project along the way, God comes to you and bless you with Mary, isn't it? So now you realize, hi, I was building a single room. Now God has brought me Mary. We will need a kitchen. You see the changes of your project because that was not your initial objective. You actually, maybe you wanted to do a 10 by 10 and maybe just maybe use timber, or maybe you just want to roof with iron sheet. Now you are blessed and you now need to do an extra. You see those what we call the scope. Any the changes that goes on is what we call the scope. The scope is actually changing. The scope of your project are changing. So it usually affects your project. How does it affect your project? It affects your project time, because if you had planned that I will build this house maybe within 1 year or maybe within 6 months. Now that your scope has changed, your time will increase. Your cost will increase. Maybe the quality will also be compromised. So the project manager needs to control those changes. Project manager should also communicate. Project manager should also communicate. When you see me, okay, my co-host is really doing a good job. So should be able to communicate. It's very important to communicate, especially to your stakeholders. We said stakeholders are people who have vested interest in your project. If you're doing a community project, maybe you are treating water, you need to inform your community. We will look at that, those many challenges where you don't communicate to the people who you are doing the project. We will understand that and look at various examples that have happened in future, and we understand. So communication is very key. So we've said that the role of a project manager is to ensure that they do serious resource persons, to recruit the best resource persons. They should be able to motivate and to lead very well. They should be able to manage finances, control changes, and also communicate. There are many other factors or activities that a project manager should do. So you can add in a good university student would always just improve on the notes. If I've given you these notes, I'm sure I've just mentioned 5, but I'm sure you can even mention up to 10 of them. What usually happens in an exam, what I'm happy about is that students who are here will not do that, but those who are not here will do the same. You get a question. Discuss the roles of... Discuss the role of project management in a project of your choice. For example, such a question, 10 marks. My good student who is not here, because I know those who are here will not do that. He will give me all this to recruit the best, because you will have, isn't it? To motivate, you will have read, you will have understood all this, to manage the finances, to control the change. But that is 10 marks. you will realize that in most cases when we are making such, we give a mark for each. So if you've given me 5, you will just get 5. So the other student who is in this class now, because he has now understood how things are done, you will always have listed more points, and now you should be able to earn your 10 marks. Sources of project. So where do we get this project? We have what we call demand-driven projects, or what we call the bottom-up approach of projects. The demand-driven approaches, such as social funds and other community-driven development projects. Those demand one, can we give examples? What are some of the demand-driven projects?
Like hospitals.
Good.
When we have health crisis.
Thank you. Let's say we have an outbreak of polio or anything. They are demand driven. Any others? Let's mention as many as we can. Maurice, thank you.
Availing piped water in a community.
Yes, less regions where maybe they
There's
have shortage of water or dry areas. That is demand.
Infrastructure.
Infrastructure. Many infrastructure projects, because when you talk about infrastructure, it's really very wide. The specific ones?
And
yes, Maureen.
Early childhood, I don't know, pregnancy, this and school dropout.
Yes, that could be demand-driven projects because you need to solve out that problem. Okay. Yes.
What about food projects? Food projects for areas which have been affected by drought.
Yes, they are also demand anything, where like now I think they were showing that there's a serious dry spells in northeastern. Those are any project. Let's say if you have now a project to go and distribute food, that's a demand-driven project, isn't it? Flooding, those are demand-driven projects. Accidents. There are so many, just like I said, there are so many needs, there are so many challenges in our society. Even students or children, let's say provision of sanitary bags and all those projects are demand-driven projects. Most of them are actually demand-driven projects. So these demand-driven projects relies on participatory process. When you have a demand-driven project, it's always good to allow your community to assess and actually help you know whether this is what they need. By the way, we have so many challenges, especially when you go to the upcountry. As much as we also have challenges in the urban areas, we can't really run away from it. But probably, let's say the most challenging, it's really become very difficult also for let's say the leaders to actually ascertain exactly which needs are really required. As they sit, I'm looking at, I really want us to put a picture of, I don't know whether you people watch news, but even if you don't watch news, the good thing today is that you can always go to YouTube and actually listen to what they want. I think some few governors are making, are already doing something in the ground. I wouldn't want to mention, but want to ask the class. We mentioned a few of these new governors that have been appointed in office, and we try to ask ourselves what they're doing. But they usually have a big challenge because one, you enter into this particular position, the challenges are actually many. Problems are actually a lot. Our people really have a lot of challenges, ranging to school fees, medical, all food, everything. But so what I wanted to come to this is that I was saying that it would be very good and it's very important for every governor, for every leader to involve the community. You do what we call community participation or stakeholder participation, whereby the whereby you inform the community to ask them what really do they want. You may go to a community and you think these people really require a road, but those people may not even require a road. They may require water more than they have a priority. So it's always good to do stakeholder analysis and actually try to actually understand what are you carry out a feasibility study and try to ascertain what are these people really require. What do they want most? What is their pressing issue? What is their pressing needs among all these lists? Okay, thank you. So some advantages of demand-driven projects is that participants in the demand-driven are able to take part in shaping demand as opposed to merely accepting it, isn't it? We say they should be involved. This demand approach also, as opposed to supply-driven, accept that product designs and ongoing product innovations are key requirements in creating competitive advantage and shaping the demand. It is also deterministic optimization is replaced with probabilistic optimization that uses what we call stochastic optimization methods to handle viability. So since it's a demand driven, you will just know that, okay, it is the community, it is these people who are living here that they require this particular project, and this is what they prefer most. So at least it's possible that they will participate and you gain optimum support. Disadvantage is that demand-driven approaches bear an inherent risk in terms of fragmenting and scattering activities. By there, you'll find that sometimes you have a challenge. Let's say in a community, let me say in my village, you'll find that maybe we have a problem of water. We also have problem of, maybe also have problem of infrastructure. We have problem of maybe education, maybe lack of infrastructure in education system. And you'll find that some part of the community will say, no, as we would like to have water. Another part will say they want to have maybe road infrastructure. So not most of the time we do find that all the people will agree on one thing, then it becomes a challenge. So there's also an obvious need for both top-up and bottom-up infrastructure planning to allow for combining heavy and light investment within the framework. Number 3 disadvantage is that productive micro projects are better designed in consultation with professional organizations, private sectors, enterprises, and competent technicians. Number 4, the development of a local production of dynamic purposes that any investment made will be backed up by credit on a sustainable basis. This will call for the expansion of microfinance components and their integration with other components. So we have a case study here, which I don't think we are going to read, but I would want you at some point to actually read it, a demand-driven project. Okay, we also have what we call supply-driven projects. I hope we are still there together. Yeah, class, yes. Let's do this. I realize that we've gone too far without taking a break. Let me suggest that we take a break of 10 minutes and then we come back to Big From supply-driven projects at exactly 1. I hope we, all right. I hope we are in agreement so that we can maybe get something small there. But 10 minutes, we start at exactly 1. Thank you. Please stretch yourself, wake up, stretch a little bit.
How are you? Hello? Where?
Bring that phone. Yes.
Okay, we are back. Now we can go on. Are we back?
Yep. Yep.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Miriam. That's great. Let me go back to where my notes were. Okay, wait. I don't share anything for now. First look for where my notes were. Okay. Okay, so we were looking at sources of projects, and we said we have what we call demand-driven and supply-driven. Now then there's a case of the Indian Maharashtra Rural Water Supply and Sanitation Project to reach a tribal population in the, maybe what I'll do. You can see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay. That person who said yes, can you read the case?
The Indian Maharashtra Rural Water Supply and Sanitation Project, in order to reach tribal populations in the Maharashtra state in India, the Rural Water Supply and Sanitation Project works directly with clusters of tribal households instead of the traditional panchayat village governance structure. Members of tribal populations are often geographically separated from the main villages and view panchayats as influenced by wealthier members of a community who ignore the needs of tribal populations in their decision making. Thus, when attempting to increase access to potable water and improve sanitation at the community level for tribal populations, it made sense to work directly with clusters of about 30 to 50 tribal households. All tribal households in a targeted district are eligible to participate in the project. And these clusters or tribal pharaohs are responsible for planning, procuring, constructing, operating, and maintaining water supply and sanitation activities.
Thank you, Mr. Tawista. Okay, thank you. This was just a case of the Indian Maharashtra Rural Water Supply. What we are learning here is the case of Nyumba Kumi, just like in our case in Kenya, isn't it? Where it would be very easy to actually work with clusters so that you know their needs. And if the problem is perennial, then we know that it's easy to handle something in small groupings. Thank you. So another source of a project is supply-driven project, which we also call it the top-down project. What we call the supply-driven project, which we call the top-down project. When we talk about supply-driven project, it is influenced by availability of resources, isn't it? It's a very systematic source of project ideas since most of those involved technocrats and widely experienced development partners. It is also called the top-down approach. Can we have some examples of this top-down approach in Kenya? Examples of this top-down approach projects, or what we call the supply-driven projects? What are some of the examples? Are we back?
Can we say, for example, LAPSSET?
Yes, LAPSSET, that's where we see what? There is some resources that have been given for one to good. LAPSSET is a good example. Thank you so much. Is that Charles or Tobias? One of you.
And could you say like the extraction of the oil in Turkana, is it a top-down supply driven? Because
it is a supply driven project. Yes. That one without no, that's a supply driven project. Very correct. I know we have many supplies. I'm foreseeing a scenario within the government that we've entered into is that probably we'll have many supply driven projects. Also, that's my thinking. I don't know whether it will be true. Yes, Charles?
What about CBC? Hello?
Yeah, I'm trying
CBC.
to also digest it. Tim, do you think CBC is supply driven?
That's controversial, Mwalimu, because they said they did what they call the public participation, which others are disputing.
Okay. And now this government is, the president was now saying that he looks for a task force to actually relook at the CBC issue. Maybe it's a very nice discussion for us to actually give our opinions based on this CBC, because you mentioned about it. One, let us clarify whether it is a demand-driven or a supply-driven. And then now I would want to hear from you as students who are doing project management. What would be the best thing for the president to do, or what do you think about the CBC? So let's all participate. I want to see as many hands as possible, so that those are things that involve us and we always have an idea of what we can do it. Yes, Nancy? Nancy, I see your hand.
Yes, thank you, Mwalim. You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, for me, when I look at CBC, I compare it with the system that ourselves we did. Those people who did home science in primary, and we also did art, craft, and music. And that's how I see CBC is like they brought back the same system. Because I think after we finished, they removed science, art, craft, and music and replaced with things like social studies.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at CBC, to some extent, there is an advantage, because there's a time the government was saying, we are having current doctors who cannot even fix a button on their blouses. Because this person is theoretical and has no practical knowledge on anything. Even when I have a child who is doing CBC, and most of the projects they are given to come and do over the weekend is what we ourselves used to be given. Like the art and craft, and maybe you're told to go make shakers, where you use the bottle tops and a piece of wood and something like a ring. Those people who did home science, art, craft, and music, they can relate with the CBC. Okay. Because what was brought up to our system was a very theoretical system that kids had no skills. That's my take.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you for that. Your colleagues are listening. Now the next is Joshua Leonard, and then let me look at how the hands are. Leonard, and then followed by Tobias, and then I think the next person I'm trying to see in my list, I think it's Steve.
Yes, Mwalim.
Yeah, thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I tend to think this issue with CBC is more of a supply-driven project, in the manner that it was imposed. There was not quite adequate participation, public participation. And that's the reason my friend earlier said there was no public, and that the current president has already told the nation that he will appoint a task force to look into it. So that's for first, my take is a supply-driven project. And then again, about the CBC. A CBC is a very well education curriculum, but not for this country. It's for a country that is, for a developed country, not a country that is struggling like ours. If we do proper public participation, we'll find that most of our regions, economically, they are done. Look at Turkana, look at Marsabit, look at some part of Kerio Valley, we have to look into the whole population so that we can bring on board almost everywhere and a situation and a program that will benefit almost everyone. The economy of a country at the moment is very bad and imposing so many expenses. Like I look at my son. You tell my son, go come with a glue this liter. Go come with a kitenge for dancing. Go come with a watering can to show you how to water. These are projects, these are things that should be in school. Like water, they just only need only one, but the parent will incur all these expenses. How many households are able to incur these expenses in our population? If you look at it, it's just a quarter of the population. So my take is the good product, but in a wrong country. We need first to establish the economy. Then we find every household at least can manage and afford what the demands of the CBC. Look at the schools again. It's as if the schools are being run now by the cartels. Each school will go and be told, I need this book from this author. I need this plane. I don't know. You'll call it clay. There's a name that they are given. I don't know this plastic from this author, or not author, this supplier. Why are we having these different schools but different suppliers? Then they want exactly from that supplier, meaning there are cartels who are running even the institution from where the supply of these products. And when you take that, maybe the same book from a different author or supplier, they don't want it. What does that tell us? So many cartels have run the system, and it's the high time we back the president. I'm not mean I support him, I don't support him for political reasons, but we need to look down and to it. Then we have a solution. If you look at their textbooks, is what they are writing in them, meaning every time you have to spend a lot to buy these books because they are not textbook. Whatever they are buying, they are doing their work into it. You cannot lend a friend to read thereafter. It's a waste of, to me, it's a waste of resources. Thank you. That's my take.
Thank you so much, Leonard. Well said. And I hope we are all listening so that now we hear the opinions, and probably I like the fact that you mentioned something, the idea, and even give the way forward. That will be so nice. Okay, thank you. Let me move to Tobias, then Stephen. I'm just going as by the order. Tobias?
Yeah, thank you, madam. I think I will have a take like. I would want to, CBC is a supply driven, and on the other hand, it's also a demand driven. A supply driven in the sense that, okay, there was no public participation, and probably, as Joshua Leonard has said, maybe there are some people who saw an opportunity to milk down the Kenyans, like the cost involved in this CBC thing. My suggestion would be, because CBC is here and the new president has promised to get a task force to look into it, maybe what they should look into deeply is the cost implication. The cost implication is too much, and the parents are straining. Today I was watching a clip in the morning of an MP complaining that teachers are requesting students to carry chickens in the school, and then they only use the filigisis and the mainis to teach, and then they carry the chickens away. so they have encouraged some people with their chicken. But on the other hand, as somebody mentioned, there was a need for change to move away from the 8-4. This is where she was mentioning that there were quack doctors, there were quack engineers. The system of 8-4 at one point focused so much on people passing exams rather than producing quality people, like a doctor, a person passed exams very well in primary, in secondary, ended up becoming a doctor, ended up becoming an engineer, but that doctor can't treat somebody. That engineer can't build a house. So there was that need of change to competency. Okay, they could not have called it competence-based curriculum. Probably they could have found another name. But there was that need for change. That need for change is one that makes me call it a demand-driven project on one hand, but the cost implication, the lack of public participation makes me call it supply-driven on the other hand. That would be my take on CBC. Thank you.
Thank you, Tobias. Thank you for that. I really appreciate your contribution. Mercy ameweka mkono chini, but I was going to go to Stephen and then now Mercy. Stephen Chege. Yes, thank you. Stephen, we can't hear you. Okay. Mercy?
So I just want to echo what my colleagues have said. But to me, I think as a parent, I also have an 8-year-old girl, and she's a CBC. She's a CBC student, so pupil, sorry. So I think I have also seen, I'll start with the positive side of CBC. I've seen so many advantages of the CBC curriculum. I love their balanced way of learning. I remember when we were in school, most of the time, the way my colleague has said, it was just class, 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 class. And then it was like you being number one was everything. It was just classwork was more important than any other. But what we have seen CBC doing, it has been able to enhance creativity, and there's a lot of practical knowledge. So kids are able to understand that you can still be someone else. You don't necessarily have to be number one to make it in life. So at least that notion is a bit getting out of their heads, just to know that so long as you're good, you can be good in art and craft, and it will still put food on your table when you're an adult. You can still be number one. It will still do something for you when you're an adult, and you can still be very good in athletics, music. So I think they really value talent. They empower their students. They engage. The communication of the teachers and the pupils has really grown into something positive. Unlike when we were learning, it was all about being caned when you don't get something, as opposed to understanding the reasons why you're not getting. And also their grading system, I find it very interesting because you're graded depending with your strengths, with your capabilities. So I feel like the issue that is really pressing us as a country is the issue of cost. So I think it comes with a lot of cost implication, as one of us has mentioned. The expenses involved are too much, but if the government, if the parents, we still have, kama tunalipa mafuta, that amount of money. I know there are areas, Turkana, there are areas where hata kupata hiyo food is a big challenge. But I still believe we are not yet there, as he mentioned. But I believe if corruption, if hizo vitu zote zinaweza rudi chini, we will get there. We have a lot of resources, but what is killing the country is corruption. So if that corruption, if we can be able to manage what we have in the country well, we will get there. But because of what is going on, it is even hard to get even food on the table. The economy is up there. So yeah, those are my views.
Okay, thank you so much, Mercy. I see Francis Ann is up. Francis, you can, and Anne, and Francis, you say something briefly, and then Anne, you will close. I don't want to lock you out because I know we are learning from one another as well and hearing your opinions. Okay, Francis?
Yes, Mwalimu, mine is very short because much of what I wanted to say has been already been talked about by my colleagues. But the system, the CBC system, to me is a good system because it is laying much more emphasis on talent and innovation of our kids. My only problem with it is the government is not, dealing with the intake. For example, next year, Mwalimu, there will be a big challenge if we have a twin challenge. That is the kids that are graduating from grade 6, the kids that will be, joining the Form 1. There will be a big challenge in terms of the facilities. The school do not facilities. As it were now, there is a big challenge in our skills when it comes to those children because of what the government is implementing, the 100% transition. So there is a big challenge of utilizing these resources. If we have a twin intake next year, it means the schools will be outstretched. Though the government is saying that these small kids have to join, the local schools, which some of these local schools do not have the capacity to hold those schools. Go to the areas that are urban in nature. The kids in those areas won't be able, to join. The whole group will not be able to join and be accommodated by the local schools in those urban areas. So that is a very big challenge. So the program of the program is not bad, but then it has, what the government did was to implement it in a hurried manner. It hurried too much. Even the teachers do not know what they are doing. Majority of the teachers in the teaching program, they don't know because they were taken, in a haphazard manner trainings, so that they could go for a day or two or even a week, to be told what is CBC is going to be conducted, but then they don't understand this. So the government implemented this in a very bad manner, in a very hurried way, which was not right. These are my take, Mwalimu. Thank you.
Welcome, Francis. Thank you. Someone hands was up, but I think he has lowered it down. But we appreciate. Thank you, team. I think that was a good discussion, especially because you realize that we say the project is a problem awaiting solutions. So just like I mentioned, there are so many problems that affect us in the society. Many of them, a number of them. So, but we thank God for everything we have brains which can do. It will just be a matter of actually applying the project management practices that will help the government, that will help all the government, national government, county governments, any leader in an institution to actually manage this project. If you look at the institutions of our learning, for example, like KCA, which really runs their systems equally successfully, is because they have applied project management practices in issues to do with planning and timing and public participation. Even the courses that, for example, over the universities, is not just offering courses that are already, have been overtaken by events, but we are looking at the latest needs that are required in particular in the company or in the industry. Okay, looking at the CBC and what you've all said, in my own conclusion, it strives to, looks like, yes, this was more of a port supply. In fact, that will be the next start kind of sources of project, where you have the port, supply, and demand-driven project. So CBC looks like it falls into that. There was actually need to actually change the system because it was more of as opposed to the character and the kind of a person that we have. However, I maybe want to appreciate the fact that the president is is forming a task force. I hope the task force will do serious stakeholder participation. Even if they will do it for the next 3 months, they would rather have picked, have involved stakeholders across the country, and more so in every sector of the country, not only picking few areas and actually doing stakeholder participation based on a few parts of the country. I think it's very important that they go to every country, even go to the interior, and even try to find out exactly how this CPC is being implemented. To me, it looks like what you've said is one, the initiation of this particular project called CPC was actually positive, and there was need to actually change it, given the fact that the results of the 844 systems seems not to have, was not achieving any match goal as it were as a country, or even the nature of the product that we were getting was more of is than the normal people who can actually do things for themselves. So to me, it looks like we only had challenge implementing the CPC. The only challenge that we have is at the implementation phase. Otherwise, the idea is that maybe CPC is not a bad thing. It's but they need to see how best the government can actually implement this with probably a more cheaper way to do some of these things. When you tell someone in a country, if you have some children who are taken care of by grandmothers, and the grandmother does not know what a printer is. What does it mean to print? Or even if you ask them to buy something, they don't even have a pen in the first place, just even before you start off looking for materials to use for CPC. But the good thing is that CPC is more practical. But according to me, I think the government should look into the way of implementing, ensuring that the issues of cartels, like you mentioned, to be very sincere, it is very important. The president had promised us that as soon as he puts his Bible down, he was going to deal with the cartels. So we look forward and we hope the cartels will be. Otherwise, parents really, according to me, we've been exhausted by schools. The schools have actually, they have robbed us in some way. They actually, to me, they have actually, I don't know whether there's anyone who wants a school in this particular mini, but I think schools, especially primary schools and high school, really, I think there's demand so much. Some things you buy and you don't even know, the students will not use it until they finish the things that we buy anyway, but I think they need to regularize that and actually ensure that parents are not, they don't take, so that the schools really don't rob parents of their monies, but especially at these difficult times. Okay, so thank you very much. We are talking about supply-driven projects and we've talked about them. There are quite a number of them. In your own time, you can actually look at them. The advantages of supply-driven projects. Organization realizes a focused use of resources from the individual managed application. The first implementation becomes showcase for the identity management solution. 2, when the phases are completed for the managed application, 1 have implemented a deeper, more mature implementation of the identity management solution. There are also disadvantages is that the solution provides limited coverage in the first phase, because you see this money, because it's a supply that is available. So sometimes maybe whatever the project will be done, maybe the community or the stakeholders may not, or the people who are beneficiaries may not really need on it as such. So minimal percentage of user accounts are managed in their first phases. You might have to develop a custom adapters at an early stage, which is true. The support and overall business will not realize the benefit of the solution. The implementation cost is likely to be higher. So this is now what you are talking about, the third type of process of project is that combining top-down and bottom-up of sources of project. Significant changes are taking place in management and especially project management today. We hear that organizations like the New York Times switch from the so-called top-down management style to bottom-up management. Others, including some of the world's biggest corporations such as Toyota, implementing bottom-up management style elements, etc. So the managing of projects top-down remains popular in contemporary project management. This means that all directions come from the top. Project objectives are established by the top management. Top managers provide guidelines, information, plans, and fund process. So all of the project managers' expectations are clearly communicated to each project participant. Following this approach, ambiguity opens the door for potential failure, and the manager should be as specific as possible when communicating their expectations. So examples of top-down approach applications are found in many organizations, like New York Times, a leader in the newspaper industry. American Journal Review reported that the Times executive management felt that they were far from what they necessary for creation for a vibrant workplace and a successful organization. So that is it. So we may want to now look at, so those are some three sources of project. We've talked about demand, supply, and both what we call top-down and bottom-up sources of project. And some have actually changed from the maybe bottom-up to top-down, whichever from top-down to bottom-up. So let's look at why projects fail. Maybe before we move to why projects fail, I usually want to ask my students, let's look at in terms of in 100%. What do you think would be the percentages of successful projects all over the world? What would be the percentage, looking at 100%? What do you think would be the rate of success of projects? Let's say if it was 100%. If we were to rate it at 100%, what percentages do we have a project successfully completed all over the world?
40.
40. Anything can do. 40. Any other?
70.
70.
80.
80. I'm looking for something closer to the studies that was carried out. I guess you don't know, but I just wanted to know. Yes?
60.
60%. We can do it also on the chat so I can look at it.
60%.
Mm-hmm. Eunice was not hearing me. Eunice, can you hear me now? I think that's been a while, sorry. Eunice, can you hear now? I can't hear Mwalimu, it's only from my side.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, sorry, I didn't pick that. My apologies. Okay. I'm seeing 60, 60, 60, 85. Maybe I can wait for 2 more or 3 more, and then now we seem to be all 98%. Okay. The 98% could be just vice versa. Okay, 60%. Thank you for your participation. The study found out that only 2% of all the projects that were initiated in the whole world were successfully completed. Only 2%.
Right. Which year?
That was around 2013.
Was there a specific industry target or generally?
It was just generally all over the world.
It's scary.
Very scary. Actually, most projects, by the way, fail. Even if you look at it in our Kenyan alone. Even in Kenya alone, if you look at it. What are some of the examples of failed projects? Or we can start with the successful projects. We can start with successful projects. Examples. Everybody should mention, put it in the chat. I want us to participate.
The expressway.
Expressway, yes, thank you, beautiful.
For the expressway, we could say the first phase of expressway, because the initial plan was for it to go to Kisumu, the entire phase. The first phase was to at least come from Mombasa to Nairobi. That one we could say it was successful.
Yes, SGR, that is SGR, not that is the SGR, not the expressway.
Oh, yes, the SGR, the SGR.
Yeah, the SGR, thank you. I know you meant SGR. Okay, so the SGR, so the expressway, hey, somebody is giving a controversy, but we look at it. We are looking at successful projects. Mention as many as you can. Thika Suba Highway, Kisumu Breakfast Study. I don't know which one was that one, but thank you. Somebody's talking about, I didn't want us to talk about the failed projects. We'll go back to failed projects, but now we are talking about successful. Thika Suba Highway, very good. Yes, other successful projects. Look at it all over the world. Let's not only look at Nairobi, let's look at Kenya as a whole.
The Eastern and Southern bypass.
Eastern Southern bypass. There is Kisumu breastfeeding study. Okay. I don't know about it, but I believe it was a project. Okay. Now, we've mentioned, isn't it, a number of them, isn't it? There are quite a number. Okay, we go to failed projects. You can mention them. If you find it typing, it's faster, it's up to you. But if you mention it, it's so you move faster. So the rest can also see. Failed projects.
The laptops.
Laptop project. I usually use that as an example every day.
The Kimwarer and Aror Dam.
Kimwarer Dam.
HIV vaccine.
The 6 months stadiums.
Okay, I didn't hear about that very well, but fine. Another one.
HIV vaccine.
Okay.
Vision 2030.
Vision 2030. The 4 agenda. Inaitwa Kalana Kulana.
The HIV vaccine.
Yes. I'm trying to read. LabSet project, Kisumu Port, failed HIV vaccine, 8 stadiums, Lamu transshipments, Aror and Kimwarer. Project street rehabilitation project. Okay, Konsa City, Universal Healthcare, Huduma number, the state of the heart stadiums. I like your thinking. Think widely. Universal Health, JKI expansion. If we were to do statistics, sugar industry.
The Millennium Development Goals. I don't know if.
Yes, Millennium Development, the Kenya Somali Wall. Hey, I like what here. It's a very good class. I like the example. So, in your own opinion, now looking at the chart, even, which one was more?
The failed ones are more.
And they are still writing affordable housing projects. And now, remember, we've talked about national projects. If you go to the county and look at even every sub-county, we usually have a big problem, students, in what we call sustainability of projects. Because, for example, let's say this one member of parliament would do this particular project. For one or two reasons, it doesn't complete, and now there's change of leadership. So in most cases, you will find that the member or the leader who is coming, or the member of parliament who is coming, you do not want to continue with the project of the previous. In fact, we've just mentioned national. There's also BBI. That's what somebody is mentioning here. So if we look at it now individually, you can imagine how many projects are failed and how much resources are being pumped into those. Projects. If you look at it, in fact, where you come from, look at your county. Just look at your county, try to assess, even just from your own sub-county. For those people who come from up country like me. Creation of millions of projects for unemployed, PRT. Okay. So it is here, there are so many of them. In fact, mostly, so we say 2%, according to the research, shows that only 2% of the projects successfully. So what are some of the reasons? What are some of the reasons?
Mismanagement of funds.
Insufficient resources, yes. Next, you can read what we have. Insufficient funds, impossible deadlines, poor communication. What you don't understand, you ask, lack of focus, low morale, lack of sponsor support. You remember we talked about the scope creep? That is a major problem in failed projects because you change at the course, just like the way we were saying. Yes?
Variations, I think the same thing you're speaking about.
Say again, say again.
Project variations, changes and all that.
What we mean by scope, yes, that is what we mean by that. You know what happened with the scope creep is because let's say you have this particular scope. You say, I just gave an example. I said maybe you want to build a 1 2-bedroom house. Please, Nani, mute for me that person. Okay. Let's say you actually had an initial plan of building, let's say 2 classrooms. In the process, you realize that you need an extra classroom for the CBC. You see, your scope has changed. So definitely, in most cases, that actually leads to failure of projects, because when we say, when there is a scope creep or when there is change of scope, what does it mean? It means that you need more money, isn't it? It means you need more resources. It means you need more money, you need more manpower, you need more materials, you need more machinery. So in most cases, it leads to project failures. Lengthy time frames, lack of tools, lack of customer involvement, lack of stakeholder involvement, etc., etc. Sawa? Okay, so usually this is the opposite of success of a project. Okay, factors that lead to success of a project is that you have clear targets, you involve your customers or stakeholder involvement, you manage your timeframes, you have clear milestones, you have good communication, you manage your scopes very well, you manage quality management, you manage your risk, you manage your objectives, you manage your team. There are so many of them. Tuko pamoja? We are together.
Yes, madam.
Thank you. How to start a new project? You need to ensure that you have a sponsor, you have a target, you have a scope, you have resources. Make sure you are planned. Make sure you know the process. You should also have tracking, which is you have to monitor your progress and you have to report. So I hope I see this speech. If there's something you don't understand, we can actually, but I know we've discussed it so much. I guess now we are just relating with whatever we have now. So how to start a new project? You must have a sponsor, you must have monies, you have a target, you have an objective. Your scope is very important. You need resources, you need to plan, you need to process, you need to understand the processes, you need to know how to monitor and control all projects. Anything that you do, you must monitor. Even if you are going to do that street children support, you must have a monitoring and evaluation. You must monitor and see how far are you going, how much have you done. Reports are very important. You must write your report at the end. For you, you will just have your certificate to show that you have successfully completed your course. I don't usually do this kickstarting a project. You can look at it on your own. It's normally it's just part of it. So class, thank you so much. This brings us to the end of our lesson today. I thought we'll do 2 particular topics. That is this overview of project management. And we were also supposed to look at project management as a discipline. But what we'll do, we will start with project management as a discipline next week, and we'll look at the project life cycle. So just to do a recap, we have looked at definitions of some terms. Okay, we know now what a project is, isn't it? At least we have an idea of what a project is. At least even wherever we are today, we were to recount what we have achieved. You should be able to understand that a project is moving from a problem to a solution. It's a problem awaiting solution. It has activities. It has a beginning and an end. It is therefore unique. It is a temporary endeavor, etc. We know what project management is: process of planning, scheduling, controlling. We have the characteristics of a project, and we have defined a number of characteristics. There are so many characteristics. I only mentioned few. We even didn't talk about resources. We didn't talk about quality. We didn't talk about it. There are so many of them: objectives, life cycle, time limit, uniqueness, teamwork, complexity. There should be subcontracting. There's risk and uncertainties. There is change. There's customer specific nature, etc. We've mentioned a lot of them. And characteristics of a good project manager, these are quite a number of them, but you can pick some few, 5 of them or 10 of them for you to help you: planning and organization, communication skill, ability to take suggestions, knowledge of technology, should be able to solve conflicts, etc. The role of a project manager, we say to recruit the best, to motivate, and there are many more: to manage the finances, to control change, to communicate, to do everything, to manage change and to control change, to manage risk, to plan, to coordinate, etc. Sources of projects, we have come to discover the 3 of them, and we have some examples: demand-driven project, supply-driven, and we have the one that combines the 2, the bottom-up approach and the top-down. Is it top-down? Yes, top-down approach. Okay, class. Why projects fail? We've looked at it, and why projects succeed. Maswali kwa mwalimu wenu? A question for me.
Thank you for the lesson, Malim.
Thank you, Robert.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes. Yes, Nancy.
Let's see your face well.
You want to see my face? It's already on it's on Moodle.
Yeah.
I think I'm not having the connection. I think that's why I sat opposite the camera, maybe. Oh, that's better, isn't it?
Yes.
Wow.
Now you can
very clear now.
You can see very clearly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I thought it's very nice for you to know who is talking to you and who is interacting with you. But I really want to appreciate. If we have any question, we can raise it. Okay.
Hey, Madam, I think we are good.
Thank you very much. So we will try our best. At least I don't know whether you have a class usually after this, but we'll try maybe to finish.
Yes, me, I have.
Okay,
2 o'clock.
Oh, thank you. We can try finish the class like 15 minutes too for future. It's just today we were starting. So first, let me apologize for the idea that we had to wait for us to admit. Tony, please do not forget to screenshot for me the attendance. So for purposes of taking the roll call for now, but going forward. So we meet again next week. For the DL student, I'll communicate to you when we'll have our special meeting. But for now, you are really very free to join the class anytime you have, when you are free between 11 and 2 p.m. on Saturdays. So
thank you.
So I will be, if there's a time that we are not meeting, I will definitely communicate on time. But if you find that you're not communicated, then definitely you know that we'll meet in a class. So without much ado, I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I always like reading a word from the Bible before we depart. And allow me to read from Psalms 27:1. Praise the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? It is the desire of my heart and my prayer that the Lord be your light and your salvation, that you don't fear anything because the Lord is your stronghold. Even as you get throughout the week, I pray that God may protect you, that God may be with you, and that you may have that time to actually be able to revise your work. Thank you very much. I want to give an opportunity.
Amen. Thank you very much, Mwalimu.
Can
Thank
we
you.
have someone to pray for us? Then we say bye-bye.
Sure, Mwalimu, I can pray.
Thank you, Dorothy. Nice one.
Great. Everlasting Redeemer, in the mighty name of Jesus Christ, we come before you, Lord, this morning, and we thank you, Father, for this lesson that we've had. We thank you, Father, for this moment of learning, Jehovah, Lord. We pray, Father, as we disembark and head to our different endeavors and different activities, Father, we pray that you'll keep us safe and sound until we meet again next week in class. We pray that, Lord, you'll keep us all safe and sound until we meet again. Thank you, Father, even for the wisdom you've bestowed upon our teacher. May you guide us even as the students, as we go through our books, that, Father, we shall have understanding. We thank you, Lord, and we honor you. For we pray all this, believing and trusting in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dorothy.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mwalimu.
Love you all. Please stay safe.
Thank
Until
you,
we meet again
Mwalimu.
next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Love you all. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Have a blessed weekend.
Same to you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Mwalimu, I have a small request.
No problem. Please ask meanwhile. No problem. You are free to leave, for those who want to leave, but whoever want to ask a question, you are very free to. Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm a dear student.
Yes.
And we are experiencing some problem accessing the portal. Would you share today's lessons on WhatsApp?
Okay. Why do you have a
make
problem
the
accessing
simplification.
Moodle? Because we can solve that problem also.
They have just been saying invalid password, and we have been requesting for an assistant. They have been sorted. I don't think it's the school fees because we have already paid the same.
Are you using the same password like the one I gave, or you're using a different one?
It's the virtual learning portal I'm talking about.
Yes, I know about it. So I'll ask Joshua the password, and then I will share again so that you should be able to join. But no cause for alarm, I'll just post. Should you not be having, there's no problem. I'll always just want to post it. Yeah.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. I will work on that. So please feel free. If you have a challenge, just communicate on WhatsApp, and then we should be able to. The most important thing is for you to learn and be able to have a smooth process in these studies. Thank you.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you. Be blessed. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Okay. Oh, bye, Boniface. Bye. You're with your junior or somebody? Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Junior. Thank you. Take good care of yourself.